short story explanation, Boys and Girls, writing by Alice Mera, feature maker. The author introduction. Alice Mera. She was a Canadian writer. Her representative works include short story collection, Happy Shadow Dance, and Escape. Mera was born in Wenham, Huron County, Ontario, Canada, in July 1931. In 1968, she published her first collection of short stories, Dance of the Happy Shadows, and won the Governor General's Prize for Literature. And later, she wrote 14 works and won many awards. Her works were translated into 13 languages and spread around the world. On October 10th, in 2013, Alice Mera won the 2013 Nobel Prize in Literature. The books introduced. Mera made her name with the 1968 book Happy Shadow Dance, which won her the Governor General's Literary Award. Mera focused on young girls coming of age in Boys and Girls, one of the collection's most famous short stories. In Boys and Girls, Mera describes a girl's process from intentionally thinking she is no different from a boy to fully accepting her identity and destiny as a girl. The little girl noticed that the natural differences between the sexes were repeatedly emphasized. Girls oppose this traditional view, following their fathers and avoiding their mothers. But as she gets older, she comes to realize that no matter how much she fights, she can't change her identity and destiny as a veiled maiden, and she eventually accepts the fact. So, through the discussion of female cultural identity, it reveals the lack of female identity in the patriarchal society, and as well as the weakness and the lack of women themselves. Mera presents the antagonistic relationship between man and nature, man and society, man and self, so as to awaken leaders, ecological consciousness, and ponder over how to establish a new ecological relationship. Man and nature, man and society, man and self coexist harmony. And the next part is some questions. I will talk about the answers of this question. So, these three questions answers is next. Account of masculinity that motivates characters to try to do what men should do. The heroine helps her father with the horses and mows some of the work her mother tells her to do. The act of letting the mare escape by leaving the door open was self-conscious. The unconscious behavior causes the mare to escape, which is the source of the family's livelihood, while bringing additional trouble to the father, which causes the heroine to be filled with inner unrest and fall into conflict. The heroine escaped from the bondage of reality in her dream and became a yearning hero, realized her dream. These night dreams reflect the psychological activities of the heroine in her subconscious and form a sharp contrast with the reality of the day, adding to the tension of the article. The happy work of the head man reflects his psychological state of being content with the present situation and joining the misery. The heroine cries at the end of the article, reflecting a somewhat contrite state of mind. Flora, the mare, defines the straight threat of death and runs away. Heroine chooses to open the gate and let the mare go. Her mother chose to be a housewife. Her father chose to forgive his daughter's fault. And these choices are all ethical. And for the writer's psychological state, in my opinion, this story really reflects the psychological state of the author. Arthur is a woman whose childhood scenes are most identical to the heroine's. I suspect the most of things described in the article are from the author's own experience. Gender differences exist objectively, and from the beginning, the heroine wanted to be a woman more like a man, and at the end, she accepted the reality that some things do not be like a man, reflecting the objective fact that men and women are different, revealing the lack of identity of the women in the patriarchal society as their own weakness and helplessness. It made me realize that we don't have to deny the extent of gender. We advocate equality between men and women, but also recognize their differences. This has nothing to do with either sexism or feminism. I think in life, both men and women should play their social roles and give full play to their respective gender instincts. There is no need to eliminate natural differences between the sexes. Our daily life, some of the heavy physical activities are of course undertaken by us men. Women to do what they are good at. And other readers may think that gender differences lead to inequality between men and women and even male superiority. The most important thing is not to deliberately reinforce gender inequality, but to recognize and respect the gender difference. And for the question do you have about the story, so I will ask the following question. What kind of psychological state did the heroine last reflect? is the self-abasement of discovering oneself, the women after all, or kind of guilt of being living. So I would ask the author, if you could choose your gender, would you choose to be a man? And for the attitude towards gender roles and gender identity, I believe that the heroine subconsciously recognizes men more and is explicit about gender roles and gender identity, and she chooses motherhood and is more interested in the work undertaken by the male members of her family. In most literature, the hero is usually male, and the female is studied and for the gender stereotypes, we generally say that the hero saves the beauty, potentially positioning the hero as a male rescued for beauty. And for the assumptions are being made about gender. Verity, the name is women, farewell women. These are the assumptions made about gender, cultural vision. And throughout the history of human society, men have generally dominated in power, money, and status. The other was in the middle and the lower strata of the society, and his family was in poor economic condition. He had to engage in fox breeding and slaughtering for survival, which he did not want to do with his heart. The main character's family provides fox fur for two companies. Their daily work is heavy, but the income is mediocre, and they can barely make ends meet. This reflects the unequal distribution of social resources among people at Dalton. Both companies gave the family expensive calendars every year, and the family hires a low-level worker to work for them temporarily. Superficially, these different classes of people get along well with each other, and the article supports the division of labor in the society. The farmer willingly sells fox fur to two companies, earning a meager profit and maintaining daily life without any